My, chatty Cathy's. I should not feed you so well, huh? Well, happy Tuesday. Happy Ramadan Mubarak. We are very glad to have you all back. I know that you probably missed us last month if you didn't come to Sun City. We had a traveling roadshow last month, which was a lot of fun. Did anybody come to our traveling roadshow last month? Oh my gosh, see? That's why we're so cool here. So last month, if you didn't get to come, we went to the Sun City Community Center, and we had an incredible presentation. And if you missed out, then you have to catch us on YouTube, because Kale every month does a great job putting us on YouTube and filming our first Tuesday, so you can always catch us. Or for those family members not motivated to leave the house, they can check it out on YouTube after the fact. LVMPD Northwest Area Command. Or you can just send it to your friends and be annoying and send videos that are too big on email. Just send the link, right? So tonight, I was inspired last month when we were at Sun City. We got a lot of questions about what is the future of Metro? What is happening? I hear you guys are opening a new substation. And I thought it would be really impressive for you guys to hear it straight from the miracle makers that are putting it all into place. So you're going to have a presentation tonight on what does the future of Summerlin look like? What is the development? What are you guys going to see happening, and how is it going to affect you, from traffic to crime to just all of these beautiful additions that are going to make our community shine even brighter than it already is. So as usual, you know that we bring a posse when we come to First Tuesday. And if you've ever been to a First Tuesday anywhere else in the Valley, I don't know of a better looking staff than the one I have. So point in case, my Administrative Lieutenant Rick Gibbon. He does like that attention, so you can always clap for him. And then up in the back corner, my Swing Shift Lieutenant Troy Barrett. Carmen Donegan, my Day Shift Lieutenant. And then, of course, the British flag-bearing, accent so endearing, phenomenal COP Sergeant Stu Richmond. And then he has his team that makes all the magic happen, sprinkled throughout the arena. So if you need anything afterwards, the other ones that are going to be hanging out to take your gripes, bitches, complaints, and compliments, because I'm sure we like to hear those as well. So anything you need afterwards, from a traffic concern to a neighborhood issue, these guys will be happy to hear it when we're done. So tonight, before we get on to the 20-year master plan of Summerlin and what it looks like, we wanted to take, hi Kathy. You guys see Kathy Castle up there? Hi Kathy, yay! You should have sat up here in the front row so you could really get the full essence. We just want to say a quick thank you to the incredible food that we have provided tonight. Juan from 7-Eleven in Sinclair, thank you so much for all the pizza and water. And Onion Cafe also provided the chicken and other little sandwiches, delightful treat. They're right up the street at Cheyenne and 215. And then, where'd you get it from? Lazy Dog. The Howard Hughes Corporation provided you that amazing dessert. And he promised me it's fat-free, gluten-free, calorie-free. So dig in. Tom Moore from the Howard Hughes Corporation provided us dessert. I told him that wool and polyester doesn't stretch much, so you have to find a dessert that's amenable for us. And then before I forget, I just want to thank all of my elected officials and their representatives for coming tonight. Michelle Fiore's office, Darwin Anthony's office, and Cedric Pierre's office. Right? I got it ready? Nobody else snuck in? They always are supporting us, and they get to come. I think you guys just come for the food now that you know, but we'll take it either way. So if you have questions for them, obviously they get all the hard questions. We get the easy questions, so just make sure you divide them up accordingly. And also give them your support, because they are very, very, I think we're the luckiest station because we get the most political representation support, or at least that's the room where I'm going to start. So you guys have to back me up. And if you miss it, we have coffee with a cop on, I think it's with Starbucks, right? We have one coming up on the 26th, so I'll make sure to push it out on email with one of you guys. I think that's all the announcements we have. All right, so are you ready to hear all the people that did phenomenal things this last month? Yes? I'm ready to tell you about it. If you've never been to a First Tuesday here, then you probably don't know, but we always honor a community member for outstanding community service in what we call the Unsung Hero Award. And this month it was an easy choice because we have been partners with a few different organizations that came to us and said, anything you need at any time, we're always willing to do. And they don't usually mean that. However, this company did. And when we called them last summer and said, hey, we have people dying from heat exhaustion and dehydration, can you help? They showed up with pallets of water that would have hydrated a small country. I'm not kidding. And they have gone above and beyond on so many different requests that tonight our unsung hero is Anthem Hills from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So, all right, so here it goes. We at Northwest Area Command would like to recognize Olivia Smith of Anthem Blue Cross for our community partner of the quarter, what we call the Unsung Hero. Olivia and her team have been outstanding in the contribution of their efforts and resources to help our area command and better the community. They organize events, provide bouncy castles for kids, and always bring the big Blue Cross RV to events, which is an activity for the kids to play on when it's parked at events. They're always the first to ask if we need something, provide Northwest Area Command with over 100 cases of water in the summer of 2018 to help with hydration in our homeless outreach project. In effect, saving lives during the heat and the hottest part of our summer months. Olivia and her team provided bags of goodies to the Shriners charity event last October. And we held a barbecue at one of our problem apartment complexes last summer, and in the heat of the day, Olivia was there with her RV to help cook and provide for the community members present. We at Northwest Area Command would like to take a moment and a big thank you for all of your kindness and generosity over the last year working with us. We look forward to continued partnership and incredible collaborative effort of making a difference in our community. We appreciate it. So now, and I just want you guys to see how fancy these are this month. Fancy frames. So as you might have heard, and if you hadn't heard, I'll be the first to tell you, that the sheriff every year comes up with priorities. And recently, since his last election, his priority, since he first got elected, his priority has been to reduce violent crime. You can all agree, a great priority, right? The reduction of violent crime. And for 4 years, we tirelessly, as LVMPD, worked to decrease violent crime in every category. And as I stand here today, I will tell you that we are still on that trend. When I looked at the numbers this morning, we're down 28 homicides as compared to last year, right? That's really awesome. 19 shooting victims, we're down in fatal accidents, we're down in robberies, we're down across the board. And I don't want to take any credit for this, but we are down in stolen firearms. And I'm just saying that maybe our message is getting out. So we really made a difference in those numbers. But the one place, and I know you heard me talk about it, that we hadn't made as much of an impact that we would have liked to have seen was in home burglaries. And I know every message I push out, every time I talk to you guys, we're talking about how to improve your safety of your home, your apartment complex, how to lock up your firearms, and how to really make an impact in home burglaries. So we decided, instead of just preaching that message to you, we needed to take an active role in that as well. Lieutenant Gibbon and Sergeant Stu Richmond, we came up with the idea of putting together a burglary task force. And if you were at First Tuesday last month, we told you a little bit about it, and we even hit Sun City last month, and you saw our officers out there walking around, knocking on doors, and really trying to push this message. And I'm proud to tell you that they were up and running 60 days, and we had a huge impact in burglaries and stolen firearms here at Northwest Area Command. And at the end of that 60 days, we realized that all it takes is this partnership, right, between you guys taking an active role in your own safety and us getting out there and not just spreading the message, but putting the right people in jail. Day after day, they were coming in and talking about, we arrested this burglary suspect and that burglary suspect, and we caught this person in action, right? Right in the heat of the moment, they were catching these guys committing these burglaries. And it really, really had an impact. So I'm proud to tell you today that we are dropping home burglaries substantially. And this month, we decided we're going to honor our burglary task force. So where are they all? We have them come out. Where's Marcus? Come on, Marcus, Mr. Bradley, Laura. Oh, you got it. Lieutenant Gibbon made you guys a video because he just loves being behind the camera so much.
Hey, Northwest Area Command. This month we are recognizing officers who are part of our Help Us, Help You Burglary Task Force. You may have seen them in your neighborhoods, on your social media, or maybe even the news and radio. They were instrumental in delivering the message about safeguarding your homes and your property. We'd like to thank Officer Martin, Officer Van Dyke, Officer Mina, and Officer Bradley for outstanding service to Northwest Area Command and our community. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to read one of them for you because they're pretty much all the same. But we put this task force in the hands of a very experienced senior officer, and I just want to be clear, I'm not calling him old, Marcus. Because he's looked the same in the 20 years I've known him, hasn't gotten a wrinkle on his face yet. But he did an exemplary job due to his training experience, but most importantly, the passion he has for police work. This man has the same passion, if not more, 20 plus years later than he did the first day he signed up. And that's the kind of leaders that you have here at Northwest Area Command, guys that do this job not because they have to, but because they want to. During the first 3 months of 2019, Northwest Area Command had 106 firearms stolen from residents and vehicles. The ratio of this was 1.2 firearms per day. This is the most out of all the area commands in Las Vegas, a title we are not proud to carry. And this presented a big problem for us, and we had to find a solution to reduce these numbers, and we had to find it quickly. From March 23rd through June 1st, Northwest Area Command Community Policing Division implemented a task force to reduce the number of stolen firearms here. The aim of this task force was to educate the public, perform proactive enforcement, perform follow-up, including the canvassing of areas where they have been high instances of burglaries, and conduct social media postings to include radio and TV. Officer Marcus Martin, Laura Van Dyke, DeAndre Mina, and Robert Bradley were all part of this task force for the last 2 months. In that time, they focused on 4 areas and that had the most firearms stolen. And our message for this task force, and our slogan was called Help Us, Help You. Over this operational period, officers from the task force distributed over 4,000 flyers to affected neighborhoods, arrested 10 suspects that were related to burglaries, and wrote 20 citations. All their efforts and hard work ultimately paid off and is reflected in the reduction of the numbers. It went from a ratio of 1.25 firearms stolen per day to just 0.52, and just 35 stolen during this 2-month period, which is a huge reduction. However, still 35 too many. You have all performed your task above and beyond that was asked of you. Thank you for all your hard work, diligence, and endeavor to get the message out to our community and make it a safer place for all those who reside here. Laura? Very smart. Thank you very much. Last but not least, Mr. Bradley.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You guys make me feel like such a celebrity when you clap every time. Thank you guys. Exceptional work. And Stu, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
And I hope you appreciate getting to see this because it's the only way that we know how to get positive messaging about the police out. It's very important that you take those little stories and share them in your churches, in your synagogues, in your neighborhoods, so people know that these guys are out here a lot of times much after their shift ended, much before it begins, on their days off, because they believe so passionately about what it is that they do. All right, so I do have a video that we're going to play for you on homelessness before I turn it over to Tom Warden, and then we will roll right into what you have lost made in your area command.
There was a time when the homeless in Las Vegas were generally confined to a small geographic area downtown. This is the area of Four Master, Las Vegas Boulevard, and Main Street. We've all seen this, a scene which used to get worse during the winter and then almost disappear during the summer. But now the problem is year-round. And with an estimated 16,000 unhoused people in Clark County, the issue is no longer limited to just downtown. A short time ago, this encampment next to I-15 appeared 1 block away from the Palace Station Hotel. And here, just east of the Strip, near the convention center, streets and alleyways next to apartment complexes are filled with makeshift homes constructed using dumpsters, mattresses, blankets, and broken down vehicles. Scenes like this are spreading closer and closer to the heart of the tourist corridor and into neighborhoods where this has never been an issue before. For our police department, some areas get dozens of calls for service every day related specifically to the homeless. Officers with LVMPD's MORE team, and especially our downtown area command, face a daily struggle to deal with the overwhelming issues this crisis presents.
We have all types of people out here, ranging from 30 years old all the way up to 60, 70 years old. I've even seen a 94-year-old World War II veteran out here.
Twice a week, the city of Las Vegas sends trucks into this downtown area to clean up the garbage that's left behind.
Any person, any moment can be just one big life event away from being homeless. We try to make sure that people know that we're trying to help them. All the community people, partners out here, we're trying to do the best we can to help them get off the street.
This one chore costs $600,000 a year. These people are down and out, mentally ill, drug addicted, or just struggling for one reason or another. Medical calls, cleanup, and demand on other local services related to the homeless population is costing our taxpayers an estimated $48 million a year. This scene is under the F Street Bridge and the I-15. And here we are in the Northeast Area Command at Gowan and Nellis. And out here at the 95 and Charleston, people are living out in the desert. The signs of the problem are everywhere, including most of our major roadways now, with panhandlers dangerously situating themselves in the middle of traffic. It's hard to drive past these scenes and not feel bad. So with good intentions, many of us give spare change, not realizing this doesn't really help at all. Some prefer to give food. Here's a couple setting up a table downtown. But it doesn't work, because after the donors leave, this is the aftermath. This isn't a problem unique to Las Vegas. Cities across the country are experiencing it as well. We have lots of great community partners working to make a difference, but solutions are hard to find, and they are fraught with legal concerns and debates over what is the best strategy. We've been as proactive as our staffing, our budget, and the law will allow, but it clearly has not been enough. We're asking the public and local businesses to take more meaningful action. Spare change needs to be replaced with real change. More housing, more drug and alcohol treatment, more attention to mental health issues, and more awareness by all of us needs to be part of a coordinated effort. Otherwise, this is the type of community we can look forward to indefinitely.
All right, so that's your Happy Homeless video, and I know that no area command is immune to it, and we get complaints every day about the guys, the panhandlers. I know they pop up at different intersections. Nobody's immune to it. We are on it. We do stop them. We do cite them when they're impeding traffic, when they're causing any kind of hindrance. as best as we can. So just continue to share the information with us, continue to pass it on. We do have a running log of all the places that they're at. And remember, we have a couple different things. We have homelessness that exists as homelessness, what you saw in that video. We have the panhandlers, or the guys that are on the streets with the signs soliciting, looking for cash. And then we also have the squatters in homes, where the homes are empty, they're left empty for 6 months or a year, they're bank owned, they're in foreclosure, and that is a form of homelessness and or squatting. So we have all three of those, and Stu's team works tirelessly. He has people dedicated to just homelessness. They work with the nonprofits downtown, they work with the city and the county, they work with North Las Vegas, and they do everything they can to really keep a hold of that problem. So understand it does not fall on deaf ears, and they're working on it every single day. But keep sharing the information with us, and we'll keep attacking it to the best of our ability to get these folks the help and support that they need. Before I allow Tom, I forgot I have one more thing. Enrique, you want to come down? And as you know, it's summer. And if you haven't felt the heat wave yet, it's coming. Just wait for it a day or so. Because we went from, I think, 70s last week to 101 tomorrow. So that was spring the last 3 days. I hope you enjoyed it. Yep, we went from not wearing a jacket to needing full on igloo. He's going to come with some really happy news about the 8 kids that he's pulled out of the pool dead in the last few days. So I hope that you...
2 days is a little excessive.
A week. So I hope you give him a hug, because he has one of the worst jobs ever, and he's one of the best detectives that I know. So give him your attention for a moment.
Give me the mic.
Of course. I can make video of it.
Not that kind of stuff. So I'm Detective Fernandez with the Child Abuse Unit, and we've had a lot of child drownings, near drownings, not all deaths. However, the few that did not survive, they're very heart-wrenching, because 99% of my cases in this situation are accidental. Preventable, but mostly accidental. And this could be easily prevented. I brought some pamphlets in here for simple steps to save lives. I don't need to open it because I'm pretty familiar with them. It's A, B, C, and D. Pretty simple. A is adult supervision. Watch those kids, have somebody watching them. Some of you have children, some of you have children of children, and if they're not watching them, you better tell somebody, hey, somebody needs to be watching that kid. I see a little girl back there, and it's heart-wrenching, thinking that something would happen to her, whether an accident or due to neglect. I have actually successfully prosecuted about 2.5 cases in regards to a mom leaving her child unattended for long periods of time, and having to watch these videos are probably the worst thing of my job. Cap said, yes, I have one of the worst jobs here, but I also have one of the most important jobs, and that's finding justice for those little kids that are being mistreated. So continue with the steps. B, get those barriers. The other day we had a child, the fences were all up, everything seemed very secure, but there was about an 8-inch gap in the fence and the wall. These kids are very curious. They're gonna find those gaps. They're gonna find those areas where they can get in. Luckily, he's recovering. We don't know how well he's gonna do, but hopefully he comes out okay. C is classes. We have a person in our unit that's wife actually teaches infants to swim. Look it up on YouTube, infant swimming. 6 months old. Fall in the water, flip over, swim to the edge, crawl out, all on their own. So if you guys can get these classes, I know there's scholarship for these classes that can't be afforded. Please get those kids in swimming lessons as soon as possible. And D, devices. Get those flotation devices on them. I don't really care for as much flotation devices because kids flip over. You got that little goose that they're in, and they flip over. Guess what? They don't have the dexterity or the muscles to get back upright. So please be careful. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. I know we have a couple safety videos. We're going to keep reiterating this throughout the summer. Last year, we had way too many, and as much as I like the overtime. I'd rather not have it. I'd rather just not get it. Because I have to go to every autopsy, I have to go to every drowning, and I have to tell the parents, you know, hey, your son's not coming home. And it's heart-wrenching when they're 6 months, 2 years old, even 3 years old, even 7 years old. So please, if you see something, if you know somebody with a child, make sure they get this information and spread the word. I remember 15 years ago when I went to my first Tuesday, I think it was downtown, and there were like 10 people there. So this is awesome. And I hope you guys can spread the word of, about pool safety and the dangers that it brings. Sober adults. So that is another
And
issue.
without headphones and their nose in their
And that's actually how we prosecuted one, is mom brought the kids, 6, 5, and a 2-year-old. Mom's on her iPad the entire time. I got them on a community pool, surveillance video, caught the whole thing, and it was about 20 minutes before she even noticed the child was face down. I'm sorry, I'm bringing the room down here.
No, it's the reality.
I'm so used to this, it's just like common day for me, so I don't want to be used to it, but please, just be aware of these dangers. Thank you.
I got lucky enough to meet this phenomenal human being a couple years ago and somehow convinced him to come tonight. But even bigger than that, somehow convinced him that he should let me be the captain of the area command that they're going to open. I mean, there might have been an exchange of chocolate chip cookies or something like that. But here's the good news, Sun City. You're coming with me.
All right.
Coming with me. So you're going to have to learn a new map on how to get to First Tuesdays, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay. But I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm going to let him tell you all about it, but I just want you to know that the partnership that Metro has with Howard Hughes is a really, really powerful one, and they're doing some incredible things for our city and our community, and so I hope that you're excited to hear about it. Tom Morton.
Well, thank you, Captain. It's good to be out here. Everybody hear me? I see a lot of faces and friends that I know, and it's nice to see you here and see Randy and Lieutenant Gibbons, and of course, the Captain. Before we get started, I wanted to say that the food from Lazy Dog, which is the dessert part of the tables out there, Mr. Rossi, right over here, is the guy who brought that in. Anthony Rossi. He is general manager of downtown Summerlin. Have you all been down to downtown Summerlin? He runs that place, but he brought that stuff over from Lazy Dog for us tonight, and it's really good. A little bit of an apology on my part to the captain. I did a little bit of a crossed wire. I thought I was teaching a Pilates class tonight, so. All right, assume the position. So we love this because it's a chance to get out in the community and talk a little bit about what's going on with Summerlin. And boy, I wasn't sure if you were going to let that cat out of the bag or not, but it is awesome. We are building a new Metro substation, and it'll be in a little presentation here. We'll talk more about that. It's going to be great. But I just wanted to start with a little bit of maybe a little history of Summerlin and give you a quick 101. Is that all right? All right, so if you'll pay attention to the slide, I did that myself. It took me a half hour. This is hard to see, but that red blob was the original land that Howard Hughes acquired in 1952. It was 25,000 acres, and it was way west of town at the time. Maybe going to be a supersonic airport. Maybe he was going to bring some of his aviation research in from the coast. None of that happened, but that land remained. And when he passed away in the 70s, the heirs looked at all of the companies that they had. I think there was like 16 lines of business, maybe 20-some companies. Hughes Aerospace, Hughes Helicopter, Hughes Tool, all of it divested, and they were left looking at this piece of land. Well, that land, on the left side there, you see the tan area. That went all the way into Red Rock Canyon, practically surrounded the visitors center. And so in the 80s, when the planners first came out there and started thinking about, hey, let's build a master plan community that's world class, They looked at that land out there by the visitor center and said, this is phenomenal. It would be the most incredible view shed that any community would ever have. But it would be inappropriate to develop within sight of the scenic loop road. And so we partnered with the Nature Conservancy, which is a wonderful organization, state chapter of that organization, and pulled out of Red Rock Canyon 5,300 acres. And that boundary moved all the way out. It created the buffer zone and the gateway into Red Rock Canyon. And then in 2002, there was a federal land exchange that I was in charge of. We had 2 years of trying to get something passed in Congress. I'm still in therapy over it. But we added 1,100 acres. So 6,400 acres of land we have pulled out of Red Rock Canyon to keep the experience in Red Rock Canyon pristine. And we want to make sure that it stays that way. Thank you. We all love that. And so this is the current map of Summerlin today. Well, I'll read the stuff just in case you can't see it. We've got about 100, it's actually probably more like 110,000 residents right now. We're going to have more than 200,000 when we're done. We have about 6,000 acres yet to develop, and most of it is in Summerlin West. So that's a blow up of the area. That yellow area is Summerlin West. It's the alluvial plain that goes west. Not even sure what it means, but it sounds cool. Alluvial plain goes up to the mountains, and where the mountains are is the land that we have put into Red Rock Canyon protection forever. We don't believe in slicing and dicing mountainsides, which is done in a lot of areas and has even been done in southern Nevada. But as far as what's going to happen on that land as we move out there, we will, I don't know if this is actually going to work. So that's the beltway running north and south right there. And just to the left of it, you can see a little bit more dense in terms of streets. That's going to be a mixed use area. That's going to have urban residential product and probably nice little shops and lots of pedestrian friendly retail areas. Not quite as regional as downtown Summerlin, but a town center, if you will, and it'd be right north of the Vistas, as the Vistas is today. In there, and let me place this for you. Let's say you're on Far Hills and you're going west and you cross over the 215. There's a substation, an NV Energy substation right to the right there. Just the other side of that, on the north side of that, is the new Metro substation. Part of our development agreement with the city of Las Vegas was that we would do certain things, build fire stations, police stations, all the infrastructure that we would build and then hand over to the providers, whether it's sewer or water or whatever. This was one of those promises that was made, and so the Howard Hughes Corporation is building a state-of-the-art Metro Police substation, and it is well underway. That's what it looks like. And it's going to be opening up certainly by the end of this year, and it's coming together real nice. It's got a phenomenal view looking down into the valley, as you can imagine, and we're thrilled that this is going to happen in Summerlin. We're even more thrilled, and you know, early on when we had those artist renderings like the slide you just saw right there, we really wanted to see Captain Larkin come out there, and so we actually made a version of that. Instead of Summerlin Area Command, it said Sasha Town Area Command. So maybe that's what it'll really be when we get it all up and running. But we're very excited about that, what it means for the community at large. We think that it's also going to create the opportunity to have a single area command that's kind of over the western rim of the valley. Right now, Summerlin is in 3 separate area commands: Northwest Area Command, Spring Valley, and Enterprise, way down on the south end. Summerlin is about 10 miles long, if you measure it that way. So it's huge. But this will be really great to have everything all part of one thing. Okay. Looking up the hill past where the metro station is coming, how many people know what the little red rocks are here? Yeah, they're the beautiful little red rocks that you see when you look up that alluvial plain. That's the edge of our property, and we actually do own those. However, we're going to preserve those forever as well. And inside that area where the little red rocks are, there are 6 cultural sites, which is to say, Southern Paiute, Las Vegas Paiute. There are petroglyphs, a few pictographs, and there are cook pits. These are cultural sites that need to be preserved and protected. And so what we've done is we've drawn a boundary around them, a total of 116 acres, to make sure that they'll never be lost, and likewise, the rock outcroppings will never be disturbed. And we're going to turn that over to an archaeological conservancy, probably sign the deed over to them eventually. But I wanted you to know that that's coming way out west in Summerlin. And also way out there, there will be trail systems that will go all the way into Red Rock Canyon. We're known for our trail systems in the neighborhoods. And so we're going to tie all those together. And we're working with the BLM on 2 entry points in Summerlin West and 1 or 2 in Summerlin South as well. So it's going to be really a nice opportunity for people who like to hike or mountain bike. And in working with the tribe, which we've been meeting with them and the elders for some time, we're actually planning to do, we asked them, what do you want us to do? We're never going to destroy this. We're going to protect these cultural sites. What would you like to see happen here? And they said, we want you to tell our story. So we got the idea that we're going to have a trail system there that's going to tell the story of the Southern Paiutes. How did they live? This is the driest desert in North America. And there wasn't a Walmart around, man. I mean, this stuff, it's very, very difficult to make a life in the desert, and they were amazing at it. And so we're going to have an interpretive trail where you go on the trail and it talks about these people who lived here, how they lived. This plant over here was medicinal. This plant here was very fibrous, and they would dry it out, and that's what they wove their sandals out of. And moreover, what were they doing there? Well, they were down at the springs in the winter. Some of them were down at the river in the winter, and they were up on Mount Charleston in the summer because there was game up there and it was cool. So spring and fall, they were coming through the saddle at Summerlin. We want to tell that story. So we're going to have this interpretive trail. And then we went one better. We said, we're going to also write a 5th grade curriculum and implement it in every one of Summerlin's 25 schools. And we just think it's weird that, you know, somebody would learn about history, and it didn't really start with Lewis and Clark, folks. There were people living here. And so to tell their story is important, and we think it's going to be part of the culture of this valley eventually. We hope that the school district adopts that. But these rock outcroppings are just gorgeous. If you haven't been up there, you see them from a distance. It's hard to really see how beautiful it is. Let's bring it back down to Summerlin. Office and retail, we got about 3.5 million square feet of retail and 3.7 million square feet of office space now. And we have 26 schools that are K through 12. And some of the highest ranked public schools are in Summerlin, as well as great private schools. This is a breakout of the Master Associations, Summerlin North, Summerlin West, and Summerlin South. That jurisdiction line right in the middle is Charleston, and that's going to be the southern boundary still. Isn't it going to be the southern boundary of the new, yeah, I think it is. Anyway, all right, so downtown Summerlin. There was a history to this. I joined the company when it was, the Rouse Company was the owner of it, and the Rouse Company was absorbed by General Growth Property. Then General Growth Property went through their planning process. Everybody knew that this land around where Red Rock Casino is was going to be the commercial center of Summerlin, but what exactly would it look like? We didn't really know at the time. There were plans at first to build just a regular enclosed mall. But then they started talking about building a hybrid where it'd be outdoor and indoor. And that never happened. They never pulled the trigger. Then it was an outdoor mall, and they pulled the trigger, and the recession hit. So all that steel was left standing there. The good news is that by waiting as long as we did, we got kind of a state-of-the-art retail and dining area. We really are happy the way it turned out. We hope you like it. But this is an aerial of the retail area. It's got 200,000 square feet of office in the middle of it. But just to show you how far evolved this idea has come from what it originally was, this is the original plan. So I'm just saying, you know, there's some good branding there, parking in front, but you know, this is better. And we are really amazed and pleased with how strong the residents of Southern Nevada have accepted this. This is actually a heat map diagram where it shows the size of it is how many times we heard these intercepts from people when we asked them, what do you think of it? But it's honest. If you look real close, there's a little one that says not impressed, or this little tiny one here, it really sucks. But about 99% really think that this is a great addition to the community. And I have to stop them and say, yeah, but that's not all of downtown Summerlin. There's much more to come. Well, now it's starting to happen. Vegas Golden Knights home, and that turned out great. And the ballpark as well. But let's look at the Dining Arroyo for a second. This, I think, was a stroke of genius. A beautiful water feature, and it's got restaurants arrayed around it, and all of them have outdoor dining opportunities. We really stress the active outdoor lifestyle in Summerlin. We even require builders now to build 15% of the livable space outdoors. That's why you see all of these offerings of outdoor kitchens and things like that. We force that issue because we think you should take advantage of the wonderful weather that we have up until it gets hot, which it is now. But this is the Arroyo, which is kind of a public area. We have charity events and lots of things go on. It's very friendly to families. And we love that we see the kids and the families hanging out. Not sure what the little guy on the far left is doing there, but wait, could be some drought relief. But these areas are designed to open up to the public and have people really become part of the community by hanging out together and dining together and just being there. Oh, of course, we had the Go Knights up during the playoffs. We hope to use that sign again one day soon. But that's the office tower that sits in the middle of all this, 200,000 square feet of office, completely leased. Festival Plaza Drive turned out really good. Kind of architecturally, and you know, I didn't really think about this. The architects kind of told me, and then I go, oh yeah, I see. A little bit of neon feel to it, so that's the nod to the strip side. And there's a lot of sandstone, quartzite actually, it's beautiful. That's really a nod to Red Rock. So splitting both worlds, Red Rock and the Strip, and kind of in architecturally. Now, I'm going to ask Anthony to tell me if I get something wrong here. New businesses in downtown Summerlin, 5-star Sitters, Frankie's Uptown, Brooks Brothers, Madewell, and then we've got some other stuff coming. Mora Iced Creamery, California Closets, Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. You know, I'll be spending a lot of time there. So, True Food Kitchen, Lululemon. Lululemon is changing from the store they're in across the street, and they're more than doubling their space. And one of the reasons is for the menswear, which has gotten hugely popular. So they're doing great. And then what else did you? Oh yeah. So that's going to be a kind of a high-end, nice Asian restaurant? Awesome. So that's all coming. This is a schematic that's hard to read, but we're going to kind of cover it anyway. So everything that we talk about when we talk about downtown Summerlin, the retail, the dining, and that office tower, is right here. But then you have everything that's going on over here now, which is the rest of the story. And when you really think about it, this entire section, which is 400 acres, is our new urbanist product. The only arterial street that runs through there is Pavilion. All of those streets in downtown Summerlin and all the streets on the other side too are going to be the same way. They're going to be one lane in each direction for the most part, pockets for parallel parking, tree-lined streets with extra wide pedestrian thoroughfares. We're trying to get people out of the cars. It's not for cars, it's for people. And we want the pedestrian traffic, and so we're encouraging that in the design of this community. That's a little bit hard to see that schematic, but all that open land that's around the ballpark and the Vegas Golden Knights building, there's about 170 acres right now of open land. That is going to be the rest of downtown Summerlin, and it could be as many as 4,000 urban dwelling units, which is to say brownstone neighborhoods or low-rise or mid-rise or maybe even high-rise condos, more apartment complexes, more office towers, maybe a hotel, little parks everywhere, urban trail system. I mean, this is really going to be a wonderful place, and it's going to be a 10 or 15 year development line before you really start to see this. But you'll see a lot of folks downsizing and moving into this kind of an environment. It's going to be great. Okay, so right over here is Constellation. That's an apartment complex that we partnered with Kalita Group on, but now we're the operator of it. And that's what it looks like. Way down at Pavilion and Sahara is Tanager. These names are names of airplanes that Howard Hughes was involved in the design of. He was an aviation guy. He was an aviation engineering genius. So that's why they call these after these. But this is Tanager's clubhouse. And they're going to be opening up the models very shortly. And they got a list a mile long trying to rent those apartments. But I'm waiting for some of the for sale product to come in there because I think that's going to be great. 2 Summerlin is the new office tower. You might see that building up there. It's about 180,000 square feet. And City National Arena. How many of you have been inside? Cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Second story restaurant. You can look down and see the kids skating, or you can look down and see the team practicing. It's phenomenal, and it has been such a boost for the community. We're almost shocked at how much traffic it has put into downtown Summerlin, and it's been a huge success. I was at the first meeting with Bill Foley, along with my boss, the president of Summerlin, and he said, I want to build our home in our practice facility and front office in downtown Summerlin. He said, I live in Summerlin. I want my players to live in Summerlin. I want my executives to live in Summerlin, which was very cool. But the coolest thing about the meeting was that he also owns vineyards, and he gave all of us 2 bottles of wine as we left. Yeah, that doesn't happen at a lot of meetings. So we think it's wonderful. They made their home in Summerlin, and now they're also going to have that youth hockey opportunity and all of that, what that means in Henderson as well. Tremendous part of the community. Very well timed to really help knit this community back together, and we love that they're right there. So right next to them is a little thing called Las Vegas Ballpark. How many of you have been inside? Awesome, good. If you haven't, you got to get in there. It is so cool. It turned out great. We got $10.5 million worth of press nationwide on this. They compare it, they called it a major league stadium that only seats 10,000 people. It's a 10,000 capacity stadium. This is a swimming pool in center right field that's already booked for the entire season. And you can fit 50 people in there, and it's just a lot of fun. You got to stay awake though, and you got to know what's going on because there's already been 3 home runs that have plopped down right into the pool. So you got to be on your. It's got a 360 concourse that goes all the way around. You know, when we were talking about doing this, and Donnie Logan, the president of the team, and I were meeting at the very beginning of this, he kind of said, you know, this isn't like Major League Baseball. It's not the same crowd that comes to it. He said on a Major League Baseball game, on average, the fans leaving the game, 90 to 95% of them can tell you accurately what the score was. He said, in minor league ball, half the people can't even tell you who won. Because that's not the whole thing. It's about the fun and the food. There's a little squirt park out behind the pool that on the hot days the kids take advantage of, and it's a lot of fun. There are foosball tables and ping pong tables, food all around. It's the best food that you'll find in any baseball stadium. And I don't mean minor league, I mean any baseball stadium. We paired with the gal who was the consultant who did T-Mobile. It's phenomenal. And we've got stuff in this minor league park that is just, it's mind-boggling. There's a little kiosk store out in center field, outside of center field. It's by actually south of the border is involved with it. And it is a home run barbecue. And I'm going to tell you 3 words: burnt ends burrito. It is unbelievable. And I mean, people stop in there and get a ticket to the game just to get that and then take it home. But that's just some of it. We have suites that we're holding back on. You know, it used to be that you would lease the suites to companies and they might not show up on any given night. The new thing now is holding back on a lot of those suites that seat maybe 18 people, 20 people, because there are big families or small businesses or even groups of friends who would want to come and have the suite experience, be able to sit outside and watch the game or go inside with all the food and beverages. And so that's another opportunity, and people are loving it. They're taking advantage of it. And then we have party decks at the end of the the first base and the third base line. And we have stuff going on every game out there. So it's been really a huge success. We're very pleased with the way it turned out. And I'm open to questions on any of this. Yes?
Wednesday you can bring your dog.
Yeah. Wednesday is
Special area to sit with the dog.
Wag Your Tail Wednesday. And I hope they're talking about the dog, but okay. Yes.
I've been there 3 times on Boy Friday, but one time I bought tickets on my train. Otherwise, I went to the box office and I had to park illegally on the side there. Because there's no place to park, and if you could at least cross the ballpark in your parking lot, if you could put a few spots and have a cutway, otherwise you'd have to walk the lawn.
Did you park on the retail area side?
You can't get through, you have to walk all the way around. There's bushes there.
Well, there is an entry at center field, and there's 2,500 spaces on out there. You see all that black that's out past right field? That's 2,500 parking spaces, temporary. We paved the whole thing. We put lights on it, and that.
But that's blocks away.
No. There's a gate right there. There's a gate right in center field, and then you're on that concourse. So, but I'll tell you something else. The parking scheme will evolve as the thing. We may build a couple of office towers, like at Wrigley Field or something, looking down on the thing, and they would have a very robust parking structure system, so that during the day the people who work in the office would park there, but on night games and on weekend games, the fans would park there. So it's a co-located use, and it would be a real smart way to do that. But it's going to take some time before we get there. But try that. There's a whole walkway that we built and put palm trees along it so that people would see it. And I'm telling you, there are people that they walk 100 yards and that's it. They're right there. It's not too far. But we're willing to listen to any of the issues. Now, this guy here is he's a wingman for the Aviator, and his name is Spruce Goose. It's my part-time gig, and I'm here to tell you it's hot in there. And then that's Aviator to the right. And the first night that we opened this thing, he actually flew into the park with a jetpack. It was pretty impressive. That's Finn, the bat dog, and he is phenomenal. He's hardworking. The first game, when any of our team members bat and they drop the bat, Finn goes out and gets the bat. Well, the umpire went and picked up the bat and threw it, and Finn was like, whoa. And so the entire place booed the ump for like 10 minutes. And that video went viral. Millions of people have viewed it. And I'm telling you, you just type it in, Finn the bat dog, booing umpire, and you'll see. He is such a cutie, and he does a great job with that. But he has to keep on the good side of the umpire too, so he also brings out cold water. He is awesome, so much energy. So anyway, that's our ballpark, and that's kind of what's going to happen with the rest of downtown Summerlin as we build it out. That's what I got, but I'm willing to answer any questions.
In your future development for retail, have you got any plans for electric vehicle charging stations?
We have some charging. Anthony, do we have any plans in the future development for charging stations for electrical vehicles?
Absolutely. So we're continuing to build those actually in the north garage. And we're putting infrastructure. I'm trying to actually get them on the upper levels as well because the lower level parking goes up so much. So yes, that's absolutely the plans, and hopefully it's one of you guys are going to help too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. We're also cognizant of the fact that once this whole thing is built out, it's a big area. And so if you want to walk from one side to the other, and maybe it's hot, we may need to have some kind of a rubber tire circulator system, which is just fun to say. Say it with me, rubber tire circulator system. But what that would be exactly, we're not sure yet, but it would be something that would help to get people to be able to get around a lot easier. So that's something that's being thought about. Lots of bike stuff as well. We have bike racks, and we see people ride their bikes to the baseball games. Who else? Yes, sir.
Residential area, building it out, and for bike riding. I came from California. There's a place called Balboa Park. It has a lake around it. There's a lot of bike path area. It's more flat with a lot of hills and stuff. It's really fun to ride that. I haven't been able to find anything that's like that here in the city. It's like I drive for like 10-mile ride.
So a dedicated off-road?
No.
It's not, or along the road? Yeah, because we
It
got,
wasn't on the streets though. It was dedicated.
well, that's what I mean.
You know, the lake, and they have paddle boats on the lake, and you can fish in the lake. And I think there's other stuff to do there also. There's a park. We have a lot of concert and small concert stuff there. Kind of like what the government center has, you know, jazz nights, film nights.
Sure.
But just be able to ride and not have to get out in traffic.
Yeah.
And you know,
Well, our trail systems are good, but they could be more interconnected, and we'll have that discussion at the planning table. So I know that we've talked about the possibility of doing something more dedicated for bicycling. I don't think we have anything solid yet. Anthony, do you know of anything in downtown?
Not for the interconnected bike paths, no.
Okay. My name?
Yes.
Tom Warden, W-A-R-D-E-N. Senior Vice President of Community and Government Relations and lunchroom busboy. That's how I make my tips. That's my retirement.
It's a good plan.
Do you have an idea when you will be moving to the new city?
We will open our doors, we hope to open our doors in January. January, mid-January. We're just waiting for the final approval through financial fiscal affairs.
And then what happens to this building?
We're going to implode it like we do everything else. So Northwest Area Command up here will stay in full form, full function. The academy will stay here. Nothing will change up here. Our boundary lines will change. As soon as the sheriff gives them the blessing, I will push them out for you guys. We've decided, but until he decides, They're top triple dog secret.
Oh, good, okay,
Not really, but go ahead.
I know.
How many more police personnel are you adding?
So we will redistribute them, and we're still hiring, right, as we speak. We're still hiring and putting these kids through the academy. So by the time we open, we're hoping to be kind of overstaffed in the 9 area commands that we have, and then we will redistribute accordingly. Calls for service, size, crime, violent crime. They have these really whiz-bang math formulas that put it together, and that's how they'll put the officers out.
Well, as much as he's expanding the area out here, Summerlin, there's a lot of people.
Yes.
Existing houses.
You sound like, and you know what? We will continue to build the relationships necessary to get in front of that crime, because I'd always rather prevent it than handle it afterwards.
You know, in our neighborhood, part of this area, we can watch the criminals as they kind of look around your neighborhood, they scout out the houses.
Well, call us, we'll come.
We see them. We see them drive through at night slow. We see them work day.
And that's why you hear us always talking to you guys about getting cameras that record, cameras that hook into our real-time crime center, so that way we can have the same information.
We'd love to see a occasional drive-through by a police.
We do. We're up there more than you can imagine. Matter of fact, I deployed my burglary task force up there. They were out there on foot. So you did. You had them up there because we were aware of it. We based it all off of crime numbers and where the burglaries were happening. What else? Anything else? Last question. Let me hear it. I know what the one right where our station's going to be, right?
Oh, yeah.
Carriage Hill.
It doesn't come back to the parkway. There's a roundabout end there. So it's not going to come back to the Beltway. It actually connects up to stuff that's going to go west. And that's all going to be part of that development that I mentioned. It'll be residential, some single family residential, but then some of the more urban residential attached product will be coming in around there too. So that road just getting built right now. That's infrastructure. Well, can I just say one thing? I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years with Summerlin. I came to town actually in '89. That's 1989, in case you're wondering.
I was
But I was a news anchor at Channel 8 for a few years, and I just finished my last 55-gallon drum of news anchor hairspray. But I've been with Hughes for 20 years now, and we've always had great interactions with Metro. Any of the 3 of the area commands that we've dealt with. But this particular area command, this commander, and this staff are the best. Lieutenant Gibbons and Randy and all the other guys and gals here that we've worked with, just phenomenal, and I feel real blessed that that's been part of Summerlin's experience.
a partnership that we're going to continue to grow.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your time. And next month, unless 4th of July, I don't think it falls on a Tuesday, we will see you in July. We'll be back here at the Area Command.